Good morning, St. Peter's Day 46. Jesus is better than Moses. Hebrews 3, verses 1 to 6. Listen to verse 5. Moses was faithful as a servant in the God's household, and he testified to the future. But in contrast, Christ was faithful as son over the household. Remember, Hebrews is being written to Jewish Christians who want to go back to the old way. But here, the writer to Hebrews says, Jesus is better than Moses. Moses is really important, but he's saying Moses is the servant of the house and Jesus is the son. Jesus, I should say, is the fulfillment of all those promises. And so he's not saying Moses is terrible or bad. He's saying, but Moses is the servant in the household and Jesus is the son. What does that mean? What does that practically mean, that Jesus is better than Moses? Well, three things. It says in verse 1 of chapter 3, therefore, holy brothers and sisters. The amazing thing is, he's using the word here of holy, set apart, God's people, chosen ones, cleansed and sanctified. He's using that word holy that would be ascribed to Jewish people. He's saying, because of Jesus, you are chosen. You are holy. And that doesn't mean chosen through superiority of race or superiority of anything else or your good works, but it's chosen by grace, and that changes everything. So it's holy and set apart through the grace of what God has done for you, because Jesus is the apostle. And who would have thought Jesus being used the word apostle, but it just means the sent one. Remember yesterday, who comes down and then who lives a life who could never live and dies the death that we deserve. So firstly, Jesus is greater than Moses means we are holy. The second thing is that this implication is verse 1. It says he's the high priest of our confession. We confess about Jesus. Now when we hear about confess or confession, we think that means owning up to something wrong, like my children who get up in the morning and make their breakfast. And as they make their breakfast, they knock over one of Mum's favourite tea cups and it cracks. And the confession is to go to Mum later on and say, Mum, I've broken your favourite teacup. But N.T. Wright puts it in really good words. Listen to what he says. Confession is not, yes, I did break that cup when I was washing up, or I did slam that door when I left the room. No, it's not that. Confession means owning up, not to having done something wrong, but to believing in the Christian message and belonging to the Christian movement. So he says here, yes, I do believe Jesus is the Messiah and that God raised him from the dead. Yes, I do believe all of God's purposes and promises come true in Jesus. Yes, I do belong to the family that Jesus regards as his brothers and sisters. So confession in this sense can get you into trouble, just like owning up to the broken cup, but it gets you into trouble because in many parts of the world, believing and belonging is seen as a threat and seen as abnormal or nerdy or not cool or not right, but confessing to Jesus and to following him. The first thing, because Jesus is greater than Moses, we are holy people. The second thing is we hold fast to the confession. And the third and final thing is in verse 6. But Christ was faithful as a son of the household, and we are that household. The third thing is Christ is the son of the household, the master, and the house is God's people. We hold fast to the confession, we're God's people, and we are made holy. And there's three great reasons why Jesus is greater than Moses. We've been cleaned by him, we follow him and confess to our love of him, and we are bound together as brothers and sisters as a house. That's it for today.